Good day, everyone. I am going to report the BOAM Chapter 2 Theory of Organization in Business and Industry Terminology in Business. Basic Consideration in Organization. Sound practice and fundamental principles is one of the basic consideration in organization. So, first is principle. Principle can be defined as a fundamental statement or truth providing a guide to thought or action. So these are the good samples business principles. Exceed customer expectation. Live the golden rule or treat others with courtesy and respect. Be a good leader. Participate and contribute. Pursue excellence. So, second is the fundamental. Applies to a series of phenomena under consideration and signifies what result to expect when the principle is applied. So it refers to a set of facts under examination and denotes what to expect when the principles are put into practice. So it explained that the business fundamentals are the basic skills required to address the different aspects of running an organization. And last, in management, because of its dynamic nature and especially its creative aspect probably were perpetuate imponderables in managerial knowledge and skills. So, management in all business and organizational activities is the act of getting people together to accomplish desired goals and objectives using available resources efficiently and effectively. So, attributes for the term organization. The word organization has been used to transmit a variety of meanings by various authors. A certain author, for instance, defines organization in the broad sense of a collection of persons working together for a common purpose. Another equally known author employs the word organization to indicate a group of individuals who are cooperating willingly and effectively for a common end. Again, another author uses the term organization to denote a process or activity and defines organization as a process of continuing the work which individuals or groups have to perform with the faculties necessary for its execution. That the duties to perform provide the best channels for the efficient, systematic, positive, and coordinated application of the available efforts. Still, another author defines organization as a structural relationship between the various factors in the enterprises. The structural factors are what are called the 5 M's: men's, materials, machines, methods, and money. From the different meanings given to the term organization, it can be gathered quite clearly that a certain school refers to emphasize the process rather than the relationship between the factors within which the process takes place. Let's move on to the basic consideration in organization. The building of an effective organization requires the use of sound business judgment. First, there should be a clear and complete statement of the objectives. To attain objectives, this must be clearly defined. Then, they must be balanced. A good organization is possible only when its objectives, the profit to stockholders, wages, and working condition of employees, service to customers, and relations in the community are so well balanced that the business becomes a success. The methods of dividing activities, delegating authority for the performance of activities, fixing responsibility for the quality of performance, and coordinating the work of all will determine the organization structure of a business. So second, there should be a true analysis of the entire proposition surrounding the business. Once the purpose of objectives have been clarified, all pertinent information on the business must be assembled. All possible courses of action should be analyzed. The analysis should be made as the product to be manufactured, the service to be sold, markets and channels of distributions, machinery, and equipment, the labor, supervision, management, and all other requirements. The result of such analysis will give a fair approximation of the ultimate chances of success and of the magnitude of the problems involved. Third, the necessary function should be determined. Organization building requires the organizers that ascertain those functions which are considered most important and which will require the most attention. In any business, whether large or small, there has to be a grouping of activities. The scope of the work and the duties pertaining to each department should be clearly defined. The proper setup of divisions and subdivisions within each department is ascertained. Fourth, the men best fitted for the work and to head each department or division should be selected. Picking the people to man the managerial position in the organization is a major job. The success of any enterprise will depend largely on the ability and skills of the executives who will run it. The heads of departments are to be chosen not only because of their competence in performing or supervising the tasks of the department, but also on the basis on how they will work with other heads of department or division in attaining the overall objectives of the company or establishments.
Underlying principle of organization. Underlying principle of organization can be given. Among them are principle of objectives. Any business concern or any individual must adhere to be a definite purpose or aim. For example, if the aim is to manufacture and sell quality products, then the entire organization must be built with that idea, and those in the company must think and act in terms of quality production. The objective serves as the guide to future planning and action. It integrates policies, projects, and programs. It enables everybody in the organization to act constantly in accomplishing a common goal. Second, the principle of analysis. The best level of profit cannot be ascertained unless all considerations bearing upon it are known and studied. The best level is not necessarily the highest. It is, therefore, essential that before starting a business, there should be as to whether the articles to be produced will meet the public's demand, whether they could be produced at the right time and price the public will be able to pay. Third, the principle of simplicity. The simplest organization that will serve to attain the desired objective is considered the best to use. In a thorough analysis of business problems, all activities which are not essential and which for not pay in pesos and centavos should be eliminated. Those that are retained should be treated in the simplest practical manner. Fourth, the principle of organization. The nature of the business determines the main function of that business. The nature is the proper basis for organization to be established. Functions can grow indefinitely, but persons are restricted.
So I am going to discuss all about applying the principle of functionalism. So in applying the principle of functionalism, there are two steps. Applying the principles of functionalism, first step is to show each function or activity required to carry on the business, and to segregate the same functions or activity from the rest. Second step is the grouping together of like and complementary functions so as from several major groups. All necessary activities relating to manufacturing should be included in another major groups, and so on. So there are under in applying the principles of functionalism. So there are three: the principles of departmentalization of departmentation, the principle of centralization of authority and responsibility, the principle of united span of executive control. So let's talk about first the principles of departmentalization or departmentation. In a big organization, the scope of operation can be very broad, thus necessitating departmentation to achieve a smoother flow of operations. Means that departmentation can be through functions, products, locations, customers, process, or by projects of the organization. Functional departmentation makes very good use of the advantages which arises acts specialization like job mastery, the increase in work efficiency and proficiency. Next, the principle of centralization of authority and responsibility. There should be centralized executive control in the army and sometimes in the government. This is known as command authority. Centralized executive control is absolutely necessary in order to have authority and responsibility definitely fixed. This does not mean that executive should attempt to do everything himself, but at any one point in the organization, there should be a definite one-man control. Every man in the organization knows what his job is, what he is responsible for, and whom to he reports in case a problem arises. And lastly, the principles of limited span of executive control is a limiting factor in the number of organizational units. Under arrangements is organizational structures. Span of control means that number of subordinates an executive can manage effectively. Organizational units are used because the limitation of both ability and time. Application of principles. How significant it is in business? The use of principle by any particular establishments is a matter of adoption, the use of good sense in applying knowledge. According to the book, any business must be founded with basic principle so that it must have built well planned to have strong structure and not collapse but over condition in business. Any business, to proper it must be well organized and effectively managed. Also efficient in humanized way, economically and for the good of the public. Limiting factors in applying principles. A successful business applies the basic principle in accordance with condition in the particular concern. In business, basic principle may be applied fully to advantage, while on the other hand, not because there are present limiting factors which stand in the way of application of principles. There are four major divisions in limiting factors in applying principles: finance, sales, production, and engineering. Scarcity of money. Placing 1 month for each department was deviated from due the limiting factor.
Hello everyone, I am Catherine O. Amparo. So for today's video, I will going to discuss the need of sound organization method. In this historical development of business, there was at first no real plan of organization in business concerns. Many businesses simply grew with the times, the organization being built about the available personnel without any reference to any definite plan. In this time, they ran a business kuno nga way exact nga walay saktong plano and walay gigamit nga mga strategy and techniques in handling business. And di believe the saying nga ang business daw swerte-swerte na panahon ra kuno kung imong panahon ron nga mo lambo imong business, then it will. And the organization kuno ning ilarang gitukod sa mga available nga mga tao nga bahalag walay mga enough kanang knowledge in handling business. Whenever additions and changes were made in those concerns, they were based on expediency to meet the needs of the moment. Some business enterprises have started the enterprises. So kung nako ni kausbanan nga mahitabo sa concern sa business, mugamit ko na sila og we all know naman nga if we will in dealing business, there will be a time limits in doing your project. So in this part, they need to move quickly to meet the needs of the moment. Kung sa ipangita sa kanang karong adlaw. So sa ubang business daw, some business enterprises have started as You cannot run a business without any handling project. Without project, you cannot do another project. With the growth of concern, however, the scope of activities broadened. The men who started the enterprise remained the center of activity in spite of the impracticability to their continuing to do. So para mo lambo kuno ang concern sa mga tao about sa imong tukod nga business, kailangan makita sa mga customer na unsa ka importante ang ilang ilang gikandak nga business project para makita nila nga klaro unsay purpose sa ilang gihimong business. Kung kinsay kanang ni start sa usa ka project mo'y padayon o magpadayon para mo inspire sa uban kung unsa ka kana impractical ang business nga ipadayon. Kaya ang business mang swerte din na siya, and then you cannot just build a business without any reference or enough knowledge in handling it. So sound organization allows management and effective flow of resources to overall objectives. So in the sound organization kuno makahatag sa usa ka management nga mahimong epektibo ang daloy sa mga gipangkuhang resources nimo sa unsay imong gustong mahitabo, unsay imong mga objective na unsay imong gipang-aim nga para mahimong successful ni imong project. It provides necessary platform for the management and effective planning, direction, and controlling activities smoothly. So, kailangan kung mag-handle ka og isa ka business, kailangan mohatag ka og kailangan na mohatag ka og platform nga unsa para asa ning business sa imong gandak nga business para mahimong epektibo para ang inyong gipang plano mahimong effective nga makahatag og direksyon para makakontrol sa paglambo sa imong business para lami ang dagan sa imong project. Facilitates growth and diversification. Sound organization allows business expansion. So ang usa ka enterprise mo facilitates growth and diversification. So for the helps of sound organization makahatag og makahatag og expand pwede ka mo create og another project nga connected sa imong project rapon nga pero ma-improve na siya, kailangan na improvement para mahimong nindot na. A sound organization brings a proper coordination among various factors of production and leads to their optimum utilization. So makahatag po ni siya og kanang maayong tabang para makakuha ka sa unsay mga factors nga makatabang sa paggama sa imong project. Makahatag o gamit para sa sunod na pod nga project nga imong gamon. Makalikay sa mga libog sa unahuna. For example, nakay project nga gihimo and then tungod sa pressure nga nahitabo upon handling the business nanay nanaka ng point nga maglibog na ka. Ya, nanay mga duplication, libog na ka unsa ipadayon pa ba ning business. Ya, nanay magdili na ang mga works nga ang imong humanon. And so kailangan so kailangan kayo ang sound organization method in handling business. It motivates the worker by proper division of work and labor. It reduces the workload of executives by delegation of authority.
A pleasant day to everyone. I am Cherry Hill Padelio, the last reporter of this group and for this topic. So I will gonna discuss about how to diagnose an organization. So let's start. So first things and foremost, what is a diagnosis? So a diagnosis is a systematic approach to understanding and describing where the organization is in its present state, the process of gathering information, specifying the exact nature of the problems or problems within the organization, and identifying the cause on these problems. So, an accurate diagnosis is a basis of selecting the particular change strategy and the particular organization development interventions you will gonna use. So, in diagnosing an organization, there are at least what we call 4 linking strands, which the diagnostician needs to isolate before he or she can recommend any sensible scheme for improving any company's performance in human or material terms. So the first strand is the history. So the history it answers the questions how and why did the organization take its present form? Who set the objectives? And how they have changed it? How do its members perceive the environment, its opportunities, and problems? So from the word itself, history, it's like digging the past or knowing the past of the organization. For example, what values of the organization carries or what value system of the organization carries, and how would these values of the organization taking care of the employees, or whether the employees are also taking care of these values and culture. So history it's like knowing the problems and achievements of the organization has been through in the past. So next, the second strand is what we call the resources. So this answers the questions: what resources are used, what is the output, and what contribution does the organization make to transform of resources, and what attitudes are held toward those resources. So the third strand is the knowledge that answers the question: what special knowledge does the organization possess or make use of? What is the technology? Whether they're using old technology or advanced technology. Because if you are using the advanced technology with the inputs you have, then it's become very easy to organize to reach its next level. And the technique of technology being used, how is it applied to achieve such results? What are those key factors in achieving results? And what special qualities in people are relevant? So, the last and the fourth linking strand is the relationships. So, it answers the question: how is the power exercised? Is it being used and applied properly? And by whom? Who has the authority of power? What special interests do individuals or groups with the organization pursue? Are they have the same plans? Are they have the same objectives, topics, and focus? Are the individuals on the organization have the same interests that they are willing to pursue? How are the relationships of the authority? of the corporation, of the negotiation? Is it well organized and synchronized? Is it both handled inside the organization and with the outside world? Are they being connected? So that was the four linking strands that you will gonna use in diagnosing an organization. And with those questions, it will help you to know what you will gonna do in diagnosing an organization. So the diagnostic process is a very critical and a very difficult element in the organization development process. Remember this, the important is that you have to know where you are in order to move forward with planning change. If you do the diagnosis correctly, what you will do is accurately identify the specific areas for improvement, where the specific problems are, and this will help you to move or target your problem solving, which is more accurately. So that ends my discussion about how to diagnose an organization, and this is also the end of the chapter 2 topic. So I hope you understand and learn something with my co-reporters. So thank you and God bless.